Okay guys, this is my 2003 Harley Davidson Sportster. I know I've showed this to you before, but let's go for a walk around. Let's check this thing out. I want to show you what I want to do to it and how I think I'm going to get there on a relatively cheap budget. This is your standard run-of-the-mill everyday Harley Davidson Sportster. 883 100 anniversary edition, as you can tell right there by the logo. This motorcycle, really, I don't know how to say this. It's not really all that special. It's just your run-of-the-mill motorcycle. And I was actually fortunate enough to buy this motorcycle from a guy that I know in North Dakota, and I got a really good deal on this bike, and it came with some parts, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. But this bike only has 2,400 original miles. Now, as you can tell, it's really dirty. Doesn't look like it was really taken care of very well. So I'm going to address some of the issues on it, get it cleaned up, and see if we can't turn this into a bobber. Now, the budget that I have set for this motorcycle is $2,500, and that is including the purchase of the bike. Now, as long as I can stay under that, I think we can build possibly the cheapest bobber ever. Actually, I don't know if it's ever, to tell you the truth. I really don't know what other people have done. But I actually set the budget as low as I did because I want to prove, first of all, that you can take an old Sportster and turn it into something really cool, and that you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. So let's fire this thing up. Let's see what it sounds like. This is effectively a cold start on a carbureted Harley Davidson Sportster. Now this bike is carbureted, so you have to play with the choke a little bit. That's where you were seeing the puffs of smoke coming out of the exhaust because I had the choke opened way too far. But I think it sounds pretty good. Now I will tell you this is a Screaming Eagle 2 exhaust system on it, along with the air intake. And there are no baffles in the exhaust, so it sounds louder than what it normally would. Okay, so basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take this gas tank and we're going to lift it up. And we're definitely going to get rid of this seat. And I want to do like, obviously a solo seat. I'm thinking the ones with the springs on the back. But then again, I want an old school look with modern technology. Now this is an old carbureted motorcycle. So I was thinking about getting that seat that has the little airbags behind it instead of the springs. But I don't know. We got to look into cost. Like I said, this is a budget build. So when I bought this motorcycle, it actually came with the ignition relocation. It came with the tank lift kit, so I can lift this tank up. Came with the coil relocation kit, so that I can take this coil and move it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it goes right here to each cylinder, and then the ignition gets moved over here. I'm not sure yet. We'll get into all that. And I got some Screaming Eagle spark plug wires. And like I said, these all came with the motorcycle. But I went out and I purchased these. And what these are is these are the actual turn signals that mount right up here on the forks. So I'm going to be eliminating this. And I'm going to have turn signals on the forks. And what I'm thinking about doing is, instead of going out and buying a rear fender, I'm going to modify this rear fender, chop all of this off, I don't know if, obviously a license plate's gonna come over here somehow. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the tail light integrated in it or if I'm going to try to do an under the fender tail light turn signal mount. I'm not real sure yet, but like I said, my budget is $2,500, and I want to black out everything. Now I'm going to do all of this by myself, by hand here in the garage, you know, because obviously saving money. But I want to show how easy it is to just do the work yourself. Just have fun with it. I mean, let's face it, this is a motorcycle where I can't really ruin it. And no pun intended to anybody out there who rides a Harley-Davidson Sportster. These are great motorcycles. It's a great platform. My wife rides a Sportster. I'm sorry about that. My wife rides a Sportster. These are great bikes, but this particular year is not highly sought after. So if it gets ruined, so what? They make millions of aftermarket products. I can always fix it and do whatever I need to it. But I got this funny feeling this thing's gonna work out pretty good. It did come with Burley slammer shocks in the back. So these are already installed when I got the bike. So in these next upcoming videos is gonna be, obviously, working on this motorcycle. The tear down, the installation, what direction we're going in. I'm gonna need some input from you guys on it, but I think this is gonna be a great build. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, winter's starting to set in here in Northern Illinois, and it's gonna give me something to do over the winter. So now, let me introduce you to the love of my life outside of my wife. This car has been a part of my life since, oh God, I can't even remember. It's been like 15 years. I've owned it twice, okay? This is the second time I've purchased the car. This is the first time in my life ever that I drove it. I put 1,000 miles on it 3 years ago. And once I show you the car, you're gonna understand why that was really a dumb idea. So let me introduce you to my 1965 Chevelle. And that's her. This is a 1965 Chevelle Malibu. This is not a Super Sport, okay? This is just a two-door hardtop. I have owned this car. God, I've owned it twice. That, my friends, is the original 230 cubic inch straight six, and yes, it runs. It has 56,000 original miles. Obviously, we want to pull that out and put a nice LS swap in there, but you know, hey, when that time comes, that time comes. But until then, it's a driver. Okay, so I don't know how much this detail this camera is actually going to pick up on this car, but let me explain to you why I'm not legal to drive this car anymore. And that reason is, look at my interior. You guessed it. That is holes in the floor. I mean, shoot, watch this. This car has a lot of serious problems. I at first originally thought it was just going to need floorboards put in it, and I personally don't know how to install them. I have no idea how to install floorboards, so I ambitiously tried and failed miserably. So I tried cutting out the floors in the trunk and tried to fix those, and I found out that there's a lot of structural damage. All the floor supports are shot in it, body mounts are shot. Everything about this car is completely unsafe to be on the road, so that is why I parked it. And here we are 3 years later. I'm deciding to get on this car because what's fun talking about a car if you don't actually drive it? So let me tell you, better yet, let me show you what it is that I did to be able to fix this car and get it back on the road. Let's go look at that right now. This is a 1965 Chevelle Malibu Super Sport. according to that VIN tag right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is everything I ever wanted in a car, and it's also one thing I never thought that I would want in a car. This car structurally is solid. Now, it does have a section of that floor cut out. And the reason why that's cut out is because it does have some rust holes in it. But structurally, the car is sound. All the floor supports are rock solid. The rocker panels are in amazing condition. The trunk pan's 100% solid in this car. This car is amazing. I have searched for a very long time, intermittently, I'll admit that, for a 1965 Chevelle body to replace on my car because, well, let's face it, I'm not skilled enough to be able to fix the bodywork on that thing. But this car has one feature that I never thought I would ever run into because of its rarity. It has air conditioning. That's right, guys. This is a factory air-conditioned car. And that's where the bezel is for the air. And the only way that I can get it to work, in all honesty, is if I go ahead and I go buy the vintage air kit and put in it, and that way I can have vintage air conditioning. Now, I've thought about it. I really have thought about it. But I don't know if I really want to pay the money for air conditioning on this car because, quite honestly, I don't really need air conditioning. This is my hot rod. This is to go out and have fun with. This isn't a daily driver. You know, I'm not going to be getting off work, jumping in this car. You know what? That's a lie. I probably will. You've seen all them vlogs out there like Daily Driven Exotics and the Stradman and how they drive these really exotic cars. And it's awesome. And I've always said if I had that kind of money, I would do the same thing. Well, this is my exotic car. This is a classic muscle car. You don't see these on the road. I mean, quite honestly, in the Chevelle family, what year do you normally see? Nope. 70 and a 72 Chevelle. That's really all you see. And yes, those are amazing cars. They really are. But I'm in love with the A-body car. I love this car. So, like I said, this is my most ambitious project yet. Because I'm going to fix the holes in this one, which I can do. I've actually figured, I know how to fix this. The reason why I can't fix the other car is because I don't know how to structurally take the support braces off the bottom without, you know, and keep the car straight. You know, I don't really know how to do it. I don't want to know how to do it. I was going to pay a guy to do it for me, but that kind of fell through. So I'm going to patch up these floors and I am going to transplant this body on that car. And hopefully next year, I'm going to be shooting a lot of videos of me driving that car as often as I possibly can. But guys, this car has finally been named. I've had this car for years. Not the body. I've had the car out there. I've had that car for quite a long time. But I'm finally going to call this car Christine. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Any of you movie guys know that this really is not the car from the movie Christine. But in my eyes, this car has resurrected itself so many times in my life that that's appropriately what we have called her. So here we are now. And I'm going to go through step-by-step videos on how to do it. Even though they might not be right. But I'm going to figure out how to do everything that needs to be done to this body to get it transplanted on that car, get it painted, and then we'll go from there. We are going to build this car from the ground up together while in the process of driving it. That's going to include bodywork, paint, possibly a wrap. The Stradman has his 2020 Supra done in, what is it, satin vampire red. I love that color. I may actually do that to the Chevelle. We're going to do an engine swap. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. So basically, we're going to work on the motorcycle this winter. We're going to work on the Chevelle this winter. And hopefully in the future videos, it's going to be a lot more of me in this car. So stay tuned.